the channel. Today's video or vlog or whatever you want to call this is going to be about getting into riding. So I've had a couple of questions, DMs, people asking me, hey, I live in Ontario, so I'm in Ontario, Canada, and what are the rules, what are the ways that somebody can get their license? So you know what, I thought I'd make a quick video on some of the stuff that can help you start off in motorcycling. A great hobby, but there are steps to it. So the first thing in Ontario here, in Canada especially, is you got to get your M1. It's a written test. It's a 90-day valid period from the time you get it. So you actually have 90 days and then it expires. So M2 is the next step. In M2 you can do like a rider's course, or you can go at the ministry and do that. But you have to do that before 90 days. And it takes about, I believe you got to hold the M1 for 60 days. And you can submit your papers after the 60 days for your M2. So even if you do the course like a week after you get your M1, you can get your M2. And the full M license, it takes 18 months from the time of your M2. And from your M2 to get your M, I would always say practice, because it's more of a, you gotta have your own bike. With the M2, you can go do the rider's training course, and from the rider's training course, you can use their bikes that are provided to get yourself the license. With an M license, you're required to actually get into your own, go on your own bike, go and ride either at the ministry and go to the test with the ministry, or do another course for the full M exit. The course requires you to have some equipment, basic equipment, full glove covering your wrists. I believe you gotta have a shoe with a heel, and minimum to minimum you gotta have denim jeans, denim jacket, no places around your jacket that you might have any sort of cuts or open, nothing. It has to be fully covered. So, and a DOT approved helmet. And the course itself, it's around $400 or $500 here, Canadian, and it takes about 2 days on the weekend. So Saturday is a full day of practice, and Sunday they do the test after a little bit of review, and I think it's an in-class during the weekday prior. Let's say you get past the course, right? You get past the course, and now you're thinking, how do I get into this hobby? I know it can be very intimidating, it can be very confusing, and there's a lot of misinformation out there, and you don't want to be a part of something because you're either confused or you think it might be too hard to get into. First of all, when you're getting into motorcycling, you got to realize it is a fun hobby, but it is also a dangerous hobby. So you have to take the right steps in order for you to become a good rider. And this is what the video today I'm going to mainly focus on. As you can see, this is my bike now, but it took me almost 15 years of riding to get to this point. I started riding when I was 16 years old. My first bike was a Ninja 250R. I'll try to insert that in the video here. And I am 30 now. So, 15 years of riding to get to this point. I bought this bike in 2022. I started on a 250cc bike. So the first thing I realized with new riders that get into the hobby is they don't know what bike to buy. The bikes that I would say you should get are low cc bikes, something that is not new. Buying a brand new bike is not for everybody. Everyone's under a budget, especially for their first bike. When I was riding, when I started riding, there was a Ninja 250, there was like a 125 Honda, but the choices have really increased. So what you can do is you can go to like a motorcycle show, or you can you can go see your buddies' motorcycles if they have something like that that you might be comfortable sitting on. And the one thing I realized when you're a new rider is there are more people giving you bad advice than there are good people giving you good advice. Okay, so good advice is not really out there for everybody, because when you're a new rider, you're very intrigued or excited, and you want to jump to the next levels, right? But what I've learned over the years of riding is, if you're beginning in this hobby, you get your license, get yourself a small CC bike, Ninja 250, and now I think they have like a Yamaha R3. And if you're like a little bit of a bigger person, you can move up to like a 400 or 500 cc non-super sport, a little bit upright positioning rather than the low slung positioning you see here. These are super sports. You don't want a super sport to start off, you will hurt yourself. I know a lot of people online, I see a lot of videos, oh my God, I started on a 600 this, 600 that. I get it, not everybody can do that. My advice, from my personal opinion here, is if you are riding, plan it out. From the time you get your M1 to the full M, it's so basically you can get your M1 to M2 in the same year. And then the M full license is 18 months from the time of your M2. Utilize your first bike to get your full M license, because the M license isn't actually about teaching you how to ride. It's actually teaching you or getting to know your skill level on the road and your highway entry exit points and whatnot. So getting on a small bike for at least 18 to 24 months, so 2 years, is one of the best things you can do. And when you're upgrading through your bikes, don't make huge leaps, don't make huge jumps. Slowly upgrade, keep a bike for a season or two, upgrade to like, a medium level power bike, and then a little bit more than that, and then a little bit more than that. After, I would say comfortably, I could say after 4 to 5 years of riding an appropriate bike and improving your skills, you can be a good enough rider to be on the road. Another thing is safety. When you're new, you think you're invincible. And the saying is, it's not if you go down, it's when you go down. I see a lot of new riders wearing those vests. I get it's hot sometimes, no problem. But even if you don't want to wear certain gear when you're new, because you might not like the appeal of it or whatnot, there is gear out there that looks more conventional. It still protects you. So that gear has a little bit of a protection in your elbows, just a durable material. So a helmet, full gloves, none of the gloves with the half fingers, because the first thing that happens is when you fall or you put your hands down, that's your first movement as a rider. Like, you're getting off the bike and you're putting your hands down on the ground. You're naturally going to do that, so you're not even going to realize. I mean, a lot of people think they're going to be like in control of the situation when they're going down. They're not. So your hands, your knees, like your back, these are vulnerable positions, your ankles. And so what I would advise is a helmet, a DOT approved helmet, something that's not too heavy so it doesn't affect your neck. Even a mesh jacket with padding on the appropriate size. So like a back protector in the jacket. It doesn't have to be full leather, but as long as it protects your elbows, your shoulders, your elbows, and gives you good protection for just road rash in general. And denim jeans. You can get like boots that don't look like aggressive riding boots. They look like normal shoes, but what they have is an extra protection on the ankles and the front. So things like that can help you when you're riding, because good gear will actually save you, and it'll just really honestly pay off, and it'll be worth the money. And when it does get really hot, you can layer down. I get some people choose, not to wear certain types of gear, but I think the minimum to minimum you should be wearing is your gloves all the time, your high ankle boots, riding shoes with protection, because your ankles and legs definitely take a beating, and at least some sort of back protector, and obviously a helmet, right? Lastly, and I don't know if a lot of people take this advice in the beginning of their riding season, but if you are new, you have to understand the difference between riding with a group of people, a big group of people, and a close group of people. There are two different things and two different ways you can do that, okay? When you're new, you have a tendency to not think and kind of follow the pace of other people. So what my suggestion would be is find one or two riders that might be either in the same category of skill as you, might be starting off like you, or have common knowledge of some rules and stuff they can teach you, and they know you're a new rider and they're not pushing you to your limits. A lot of people get hurt when they are actually following riders who've been riding for a long time, they're new, and they are pushing beyond their limits, and things like looking out of a corner, a target fixation, these are things that you will learn in your riding career, right? Riding time as you go on, and you want to know for a fact that you can handle that. And when the speeds are a little bit higher, the pace is a little bit higher, what you're doing is you're more prone for the excitement of what's going on, and you're going to make mistakes. So I would say first season, try to ride with at least one person that understands you're a new rider, or they're in the same level, so you feel comfortable with them, you're at the same pace with them, you guys have fun, you're not pushing your limits. And as the following seasons progress, as you become a better rider, what you do is you find a small group of people who understand this is your second or third season, and you start riding with them. Large group rides, honestly, it just ends up in bad situations if they're not controlled. And I've noticed that a lot of riders get hurt because they just were following somebody that was way faster, and they were trying to do what they were doing, and their skills are not at that level, and all of a sudden you're kind of in a pickle, right? So you don't want to do that. So safety, getting a license, getting a smaller CC bike. So these are the common knowledge things, right? But a lot of things that people don't tell new riders is the cost of riding, first of all, like insurance, and making sure you have insurance, because when things go south, you need that. And also, how to save money on bike maintenance. You can do certain things yourself, but find an independent mechanic. You can find deals from many different places, and if you have an independent mechanic that works on your bike, they'll be able to help you as well. And not going crazy on your first bike with modifications. The tendency is when you're excited, when you're getting into a hobby, you put all your money all at once on it. Most likely your first bike is not going to be your last. You're going to upgrade throughout. Try to have a dream, try to have a goal like a dream bike. This was one of my dream bikes, but I'm still aiming for a little bit higher, as human nature is. And so the way you should do that is by finding either a deal on a bike that already has a few upgrades, on Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or whatever. And the best time to buy a bike for the riding season is usually anywhere between November to March. A lot of people are getting rid of their toys. A lot of people are getting rid of their bikes because they want to also upgrade themselves. Try something new. And the last thing I'm going to say is, if you are getting into riding and you get into a particular type of bike, like let's say you buy like a sport bike or whatnot, don't feel pressured to ride something you don't have fun with. If you spend one season on a super sport or a sport bike, and the next season you want to try out an adventure bike, or you want to try out a cruiser, try them all. I've done it, and honestly, sometimes it's not the bike itself, it's the group of people you might like. The cruiser community, the super sport community, then you got the dual sport community, the off-road community, the dirt bike community. There are different communities in all sorts of different types of bikes. So as a new rider, I've seen that a lot of people get stuck in the mentality of always just only one type of bike. No, try a naked super sport, try a super sport, try an adventure bike, try a dual sport bike. And as I said, biking is all about progressing, learning, honing on your skills, getting to know different types of people. It's a great way, it's a good therapy, right? It's a good way to get away from all the stress in life. And sometimes with our human nature, if we have something for too long, we get bored of it, we get too comfortable. because the second year of riding is the most dangerous. And the moment you are comfortable of a bike, you get comfortable with a bike, the moment you think that you now can do anything with this bike, and you are basically in control of everything, is the moment you get hurt. So have a little bit of respect for your bike, have a little bit of I guess common sense when it comes to not being peer pressured. But yeah, these are just a couple of tips I wanted to get into. I'll make a couple more videos of how to get into riding gear, more things about riding. Obviously it's the winter right now, but I really wanted to make this video for the new riders. I see a lot of riders coming into the hobby, but sometimes I don't think they have the right guidance. So if you ever have any questions, leave me a comment, I'll reply back to you. And yeah, if you're coming into this hobby as a new rider, welcome, and you're more than free to message anytime. I'd love to chat, and more people in this hobby, the better for us. So have a good day, guys, and we'll talk again sometime soon.